So, it's Groundhog Day. Here we are again. Beerus is still the strongest. So many people refuse to accept the blatant pretext given to us throughout the continuity of the Dragon Ball Super manga. It is mind-boggling. Lots of complaints about this, of course, about Beerus being stronger than Black Frieza, who we know just destroyed Goku at his very strongest so far in the entire continuity with TUI, True Ultra Instinct, but not just Goku. Vegeta in a 2-on-1 with his new transformation Ultra Ego. So guys, obviously since the end of the Granola arc, it's been what, 14-15 months now, possibly longer. We got the end of the Granola arc where Black Frieza shows up at the end of the arc. He's been training for 10 years in a hyperbolic time chamber, and essentially he is far stronger than Goku and Vegeta. He's able to basically body them both in one blow at the same time. The disparity in his raw power reserves and their raw power reserves therefore must be relatively large. Some of the largest we may have seen in this series. This month's V-Jump magazine, however, confirms, and I've gone through various translators, well-known, respected translators, and they have all come to the same conclusion. Forget your apps, guys. They are not particularly great for adding context, and I'll go over that in just a moment. I'll also go in the pretext and subtext of this entire story and why it's been there all along. This is what the V-Jump magazine states. He easily KO'd Goku and Vegeta, TUI Goku and UE Vegeta, who had reached the realm of the gods. I'm going to go into the realm of the gods. We've gone into this on this channel before. You can't even begin to measure the extent of his power. Side blurb. Now, looking at the image, the actual article itself, you'll be able to see that on the right hand side there is a side blurb. This is what it states in reference to Black Frieza. There is no denying that it is in reference to anybody else. It is referring to Black Frieza. Close to even a god of destruction. Close to even a god of destruction. Now, we'll go over the context of why that means Beerus in just a moment. Now, first off, just to start off, it is the V-Jump magazine. They often make hype statements like this, but they are a part of the wider franchise. They are a serious part of the wider franchise as well. But it clearly states that Black Frieza is close to a god of destruction. Now, close to a god of destruction, we've actually heard that before. We heard it about Goku during the Broly movie arc from very similar sources. However, it is contextual, okay? So, we'll just go through why this is all contextual in terms of the God of Destruction, why it means Beerus. When Goku entered the Tournament of Power, he went up against somebody that was stronger, at least in terms of battle skills and likely raw power reserves, than a God of Destruction. So that character, who we know is Jiren, is also in the realm of the gods. However, the realm of the gods is not a signpost level. There is higher tier Gods of Destruction levels, and there are mid tiers and there are lower tiers. I've often referred to it as the God of Destruction league table. Jiren is stronger than Belmod, who is likely, and a lot of people don't like to hear this, one of the weaker Gods of Destructions. The reason people don't like to hear this is because the anime hype. We're talking about the manga here. I believe they'll do the same in the anime if it ever continues and take the story from there. Regardless, in the manga, he is one of the weaker Gods of Destructions. If you didn't get that from his showing in the Zen exhibition match, Jesus Christ. So Goku was only able to match Jiren in the Tournament of Power with Ultra Instinct. We know that Jiren, mid-battle, was through sheer determination actually getting stronger and faster whilst fighting Goku to be able to counter Goku's Ultra Instinct and Mastery of Self movement. Now, if you wanted to argue that Jiren might have had to been slightly stronger than Goku to do that, I actually don't have that many complaints about that argument. But it wasn't by much, as we learn later in the superhero movie. But Jiren at that point was his absolute max power. He was even going beyond it. But he's one of the lower tier Gods of Destructions in the God of Destruction tier realm. So when Goku first attained Ultra Instinct, he was also in the realm of the Gods of Destructions. However, Goku, up until the end of the Moro arc, could not access Ultra Instinct at will, so he was unable to retain that power. So he would have fell out of the God of Destruction realm of power. In between the Tournaments of Power and the time he actually re-accessed, you could even argue Ultra Instinct Sign may have got him into that level. In the Broly movie, he wasn't able to access Ultra Instinct, so he wasn't able to get back to that Jiren level of power with Super Saiyan Blue in its extension forms alone. We find that out at the beginning of the Moro arc when he says he's still not as strong as Jiren. with Super Saiyan Blue, and we also know he's capable of Super Saiyan Blue Kaioken in the manga, as well as Vegeta is capable of using Super Saiyan Blue Evolution in the manga. Prior to them meeting Moro, they are not as strong as Jiren. So it's highly unlikely they're as strong as Belmod, hence the statement in the Broly movie that says Goku is close to a God of Destruction. The context is just that God of Destruction realm of power. However, the context changes when we get to later arcs. After re-attaining Ultra Instinct against Moro, Goku is stronger here than he is in the Tournament of Power. He can retain the form longer, he is stronger, he is adapting during battle, everything about it is stronger. The Toei website tells us it's stronger, Toyotaro tells us it's stronger, there's plenty of sources for it. Then we get even more statements later on talking about how he's even stronger at the beginning of the Granola Saga than he was in the Moro arc. Both Goku and Vegeta are stronger than the Tournament of Power Ultra Instinct that was able to contend with Jiren. Therefore, they are both in the God of Destruction realm of power. In that God of Destruction League table, they're just not at the top of it yet. So now that Black Frieza's close to a God of Destruction, what's the context there? Well, we know that Goku and Vegeta have gotten a lot stronger. They are in the realm of God's Destructions. Even the Jump magazine states that. It firmly puts them in that position. So if Frieza isn't as strong as a God of Destruction, and he's likely close based on that statement, so potentially even relative for all we know, just slightly weaker, he is going to be weaker than one of the stronger, higher tier Gods of Destructions. He's going to be higher up that league table than Goku and Vegeta, close to the top. That God of Destruction is likely Beerus. We know this is where the narrative is heading, with a showdown between Frieza and Beerus, hopefully the next arc, because I'm sick and tired of this story, to be honest. But that seems to be where it's heading. The context here is Beerus, and there's plenty of pretext, subtext, context, and evidence for it. Now, first of all, to address the trap everybody falls into every arc, and I've even been guilty of this in the past myself. Stop falling for the hype of every arc. If they are not directly compared to Beerus himself, they likely aren't at his level. Now, people don't like to accept that, but the pretext is there. First off, you need to accept that the narrative arc of this entire story is that Beerus will eventually be rivaled by Goku and Vegeta. So they are not just going to skip over that story when it happens. When they are rivals to Beerus, they're not just going to ignore it and happen like it never existed. There will be some sort of incident that reflects that they now rival Beerus. We have not had it yet. Beerus' response to Black Frieza, for instance, was to sleep for 4 months. Does that even remotely indicate that he is afraid of the threat of Frieza? We know that Beerus wants a rival to begin with. We know that he is looking for somebody to compete with. Well, Frieza's right there. Why is he not training for it? Why is he not going to fight Frieza straight away? This prophecy has been stated by the Oracle Fish that Beerus will be rivaled by Goku and Vegeta. He doesn't state Frieza will be rivaled by the two Saiyans. The Oracle Fish has not been shown to be wrong yet. And for people that don't seem to accept that the pretext is there, it is. It is in chapter 27. Beerus tells Vegeta he's a million years away in training to be reaching his level. Now we know that the Ultra forms are not those massive multiplier amps people assumed they was based on the hype of the anime. It shouldn't really be in that much doubt anymore. Now Beerus isn't just some random character making that comment. He's seen their growth from Battle of Gods up until the end of the Future Trunks arc, where they've made monumental increases in power. He knows what they're capable of in terms of increases in power, yet he still makes that statement. He even states Vegeta could be a God of Destruction candidate for another universe based on his power level. Therefore, he is telling you that all Gods of Destructions are not equal. There are plenty of other statements about Beerus' power, but that there should really be enough. And then if the text of it isn't enough, from the pen of Toyotaro, who obviously works very closely with Toriyama, we even get the Zen Exhibition match where Beerus is literally set upon by all 11 Gods of Destructions, doesn't only come out of it, is still one of the 2 remaining Gods of Destructions at the end. For all we know, the only real rival he has is Kitella. Goku has seen his full power at that point, so when he makes references to Beerus' power later on in the series, in different arcs, you know what I mean, then why should he not be taken seriously? They are telling their audience a very simple story here. People just don't like to admit it because they want to protect their favourite characters. Regardless, the pretext is there, and if you accept that pretext, you'll understand the subtext of new material that comes out, and once evaluating it, even in one of the most recent arcs, that feature Goku and Vegeta heavily, Beerus demonstrates his power against Vegeta. Even though it's Super Saiyan Blue Evolution at the time, he uses a small part of his power. He literally states this. This is what leads Vegeta to go on to try and achieve Ultra Ego so he can surpass Goku's Ultra Instinct. The character arcs are all there. It was a small part of Beerus' power. Beerus literally defeats Super Saiyan Blue Evolution Vegeta at that time with a tiny speck of destruction. Vegeta, after being defeated by Granola, after he fared better against a stronger version of Granola that defeated Ultra Instinct Goku, states that he couldn't reach the level of power that Beerus has. His reference point was that small part of power that Beerus demonstrated earlier in the arc. The pretext, the subtext, the context is right there. People need to start accepting that the power creep of these characters like Goku, Vegeta, especially in the manga, are much smaller than what people thought they were, and it isn't just your raw power reserves that matters in Dragon Ball Super anymore. It's moved on. For example, the Gods of Destructions likely have not just a huge raw power reserve, but they also have techniques that allow them to amp their power mid-battle. But there's a third component, and that is your control over that level of power and the refinery of your technique, so it affects the overall outcome. However, I'm going to go through that in a different video because I think it's often overlooked that times have changed simply. Ultimately, the story for Beerus has been there all along, and there's plenty more examples that I could put in this video, but I think there's more than enough. Essentially, basically, consider Beerus the One Piece of Dragon Ball Super. He is the inciting incident in the Battle of Gods arc, and he will be the climax. He is not a moving goalpost. His position just simply wasn't set. We just know that he is millions of years of training above Goku and Vegeta as at the start of the Tournament of Power. Have they made up that millions of years of training in a few arcs? Possibly with transformations, they've got a lot closer than what Beerus would have assumed, but still, that's an amazing gap to actually fill in a very short space of time. People need to drop their egos, stop using power scaling or power scaling theologies to dictate how Toyotaro and Toriyama are writing this story. They are not using some Westerners' power scaling theology to drive their story creation. Beerus' goalpost was just simply never firmly set numerically or measurably. That's all. Until next time, Ad Astra.